There is an ancient prophecy silently unfolding at this very moment, a prophecy so powerful that it has the potential to completely transform your understanding of why you were born where you were and why you went through what you did. This revelation isn't for everyone. It's meant for a specific group mentioned in the Holy Scriptures as the 144,000. In the book of Revelation, chapter 7, we find mention of these special chosen ones, souls marked with a divine purpose in times of great transformation. For centuries, many have debated the meaning of this number and who these chosen ones might be. Today, I share with you a profound revelation. The 144,000 are souls who accepted one of the most challenging missions possible: to be born into toxic and difficult family environments as part of a greater divine plan. This isn't a random interpretation, but an understanding that arises when we connect the patterns that repeat throughout the lives of extraordinary people in human history. Notice how many of humanity's great transformers, visionaries, and healers came from the most unlikely and challenging backgrounds. It's not a coincidence, it's divine assignment. What you experienced in your family wasn't karmic punishment or a cosmic mistake. It was a strategic placement. The hardships you faced weren't meant to destroy you, but to activate dormant capabilities in your spirit that would otherwise remain asleep. The darkness you walked through wasn't the goal. It was the necessary catalyst to awaken your inner light. You've probably felt from a very young age that there was something different about you. A sensitivity others didn't seem to share, a sharper perception of truth beyond appearances, an inability to accept falsehoods even when it would have been easier to go along, a persistent sense that there was a greater purpose for your life. Even during your darkest moments, these aren't just random personality traits, they are signs of your calling as one of the chosen. While many interpret the number 144,000 literally, a deeper spiritual understanding reveals that this number represents a specific vibrational frequency, an energetic signature shared by souls who voluntarily accepted this challenging mission. Signs that you might be one of these chosen ones include a persistent feeling of not belonging, even within your own family, vivid dreams or visions since childhood, an unusual ability to perceive truth beyond words, a deep connection to others' suffering, unexplainable spiritual experiences during times of hardship, and a constant questioning of life's greater purpose. What's most extraordinary is that many of the 144,000 spend years or even decades unaware of their true identity. A toxic family environment often creates layers of doubt, fear, and low self-worth that temporarily cloud their recognition of their own potential. This spiritual amnesia is paradoxically part of the plan, for it is precisely the process of rediscovering your true nature through hardship that activates your deepest gifts. In this critical moment of human history, the chosen are awakening globally to their true identity and purpose. The painful experiences you lived through in your family weren't the end of the story. They were only the first chapter of an extraordinary journey. The suffering that once seemed meaningless will now be revealed as the exact preparation needed for the mission your soul volunteered for before you were even born. This message didn't reach you by chance. If you feel a deep resonance with what I'm sharing, go ahead and hit the like button right now. That simple action opens an energetic channel for other chosen ones to find this revelation that may completely transform their understanding of their purpose on Earth. What I'll share with you in the next few minutes isn't just theory or belief. It's a revelation that will finally explain why you, with all your sensitivity and light, were deliberately placed in a family environment that seemed determined to dim your shine. Get ready for a journey of rediscovering your true identity as one of the 144,000 chosen for this decisive time in human history. The number 144,000 is not merely a quantitative value, but a human vibrational code with profound esoteric significance. In sacred traditions, this number represents completeness and perfection. 12 times 12,000, symbolizing all spiritual tribes, all aspects of divine consciousness manifested in human form. It is the mathematical representation of a Fati's specific frequency of spiritual light, incarnated on earth. Before beginning their earthly journey, these special souls gathered in the higher realms in a sacred council. They were not chosen at random, but volunteered for this challenging mission. Aware that humanity would face a critical period of transformation, these advanced souls offered to incarnate under specific circumstances that, though painful, would serve as perfect catalysts for the awakening of their spiritual gifts. The selection of these souls was based on specific qualities they had developed over many previous lifetimes: an extraordinary resilience, an ability to hold the light in the midst of darkness, and a deep compassion that transcends judgment. Many of these souls had already served as beacons of transformation during earlier cycles of humanity across various cultures and spiritual traditions. Before coming to Earth, these chosen ones underwent intensive preparation. In the spiritual realms, they were energetically strengthened, received as activation codes that would awaken at precise moments in their lives, and were connected to one another through an invisible energetic network that transcends time and physical space. The most challenging aspect of this mission was the agreement to temporarily forget their true identity. This veil of forgetting was not a punishment but a necessity for the mission. In order to truly transform the human patterns of pain, separation, and fear, the chosen had to experience them from within, not as distant observers, but as fully immersed participants in the human condition. This temporary forgetting allows each chosen one to genuinely experience human struggles, developing a compassionate understanding that would be impossible from a purely spiritual perspective. It's like a doctor who must feel the fever in order to truly grasp the patient's experience, not just know its technical definition. The divine contract. Each of the 144,000 signed before birth included specific clauses shown as about the challenges they would face. It was not a contract of purposeless suffering, but a sacred agreement of transformation through direct experience. Every challenge, every emotional wound, every rejection was carefully calibrated to awaken specific aspects of their higher potential. This contract also included activation points, moments in their lives when they would begin to remember fragments of their true identity and purpose. A powerful dream, a synchronistic encounter, a near-death experience, or even something as simple as coming across information like what you're reading now, all were potential pre-planned triggers to initiate the process of remembrance. Fundamental part of this agreement was that, although the path would be challenging, no chosen one would be given more than they could handle. Every soul that accepted this mission possessed exactly the inner strength needed to navigate their specific challenges. The apparent injustice of being born into a toxic family was, in truth, perfectly aligned with their higher spiritual capacities. In the higher realms, before your incarnation, you clearly understood that the very people who would cause your deepest wounds would, paradoxically, become your greatest catalysts for growth. You saw with perfect clarity how each difficulty would develop precisely the qualities needed for your later mission. And with full awareness of these challenges, you still said yes to the call. As we move deeper into this revelation, you'll begin to recognize not just why you were assigned to your specific family, but how every aspect of that experience, even the most painful ones, served as the perfect preparation for the transformative role you are destined to play in this critical moment of human history. Why were toxic families specifically chosen as vessels for the 144,000? This wasn't a random selection, but a divinely orchestrated decision with deep spiritual purpose. Family is not just a social unit, it is the first energetic field that shapes our identity, our perception of reality, and our understanding of love. In order to profoundly transform these patterns in the collective consciousness, the chosen ones had to experience them in their most challenging form. A hostile family environment acts as an unparalleled catalyst for awakening spiritual gifts that would otherwise remain dormant. Just as muscle only grows stronger when it meets resistance, certain spiritual qualities can only be fully activated through specific trials. Deep empathy is born from having one's own pain dismissed. Sharp discernment develops when you're forced to navigate contradictions and manipulation. Unshakable authenticity emerges when your true nature is constantly rejected. There's a perfect analogy in the process of refining gold. For the precious metal to reach its purest state, it must go through intense fire that burns away all impurities. The extreme heat is not the enemy of gold. It is the only means by which its radiant true nature can fully emerge. Likewise, the toxic family environment was not designed to destroy you, but to burn away everything that is not part of your divine essence. Throughout humanity's spiritual history, we see this pattern repeating. Moses, abandoned to the waters, and raised in the house of those who oppressed his people. Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. Buddha, who had to leave the palace to find enlightenment. Jesus, born in humble conditions and misunderstood by his own family. This is not a pattern of punishment, but of preparation. For those destined to bring light into the collective shadows must first understand them intimately. The concept of emotional death and rebirth is central to the journey of the 144,000. In a toxic family, the chosen child experiences a form of spiritual death, the systematic suppression of their true nature, the denial of their authentic perceptions, and the constant invalidation of their inner reality. This symbolic death, though deeply painful, creates the necessary void for a complete rebirth, not as the conditioned product of their environment, but as the conscious expression of their divine essence. It's crucial to understand that every specific wound you received was not random, but precisely calibrated to unlock a corresponding power. Rejection activates your ability for unconditional self-acceptance. Control awakens your gift of creating authentic freedom for yourself and others. Emotional manipulation develops your ability to discern and communicate truth. The abuse of power reveals your capacity to wield authority with compassion and wisdom. Many among the 144,000 go through what feels like spiritual abandonment during their formative years, a deep sense that even the divine has forgotten them. This dark night of the soul is not true abandonment, but a necessary part of the initiation. It's the moment you're forced to find divine light within yourself rather than seeking it only externally. When all outer support seems absent, you finally discover the unshakable strength of your own internal connection to the divine. The families that served as vessels for this initiation should not be seen solely as perpetrators, but also as unconscious facilitators of a sacred process. Many of them carry their own unhealed traumas and generational patterns, acting out limited programming they did not consciously choose. Part of the Chosen One's mission is to eventually break these cycles, not only for their own liberation, but for the healing of entire ancestral lineages. The family furnace was never meant to be your permanent home. It was your point of initiation. The fire that once seemed destined to destroy you was, in truth, activating the spiritual gold within you. Divine qualities that once fully awakened will serve not only your personal freedom, but also the transformation of collective consciousness. At a time when these very qualities are desperately needed in the world, the 144,000 carry distinctive marks, signs that, when properly understood, confirm their participation in this group of souls with a special purpose. These marks are not physical tattoos, but energetic, emotional, and spiritual characteristics that subtly set them apart from birth. On the physical level, many chosen ones experience unusual sensitivities from early childhood. A heightened sensitivity to sounds, lights, textures, or foods that others tolerate easily. Unexplained allergies or health conditions that seem to defy conventional diagnoses. Often there's a feeling that the physical body is both extremely sensitive and extraordinarily resilient, capable of enduring challenges that would seem impossible for its seemingly delicate constitution. Emotionally, the chosen often report feeling old from a very young age, as if they carried a wisdom far beyond their chronological years. This disparity between their inner maturity and external environment created a sense of displacement, as if they were watching a movie they were forced to act in without being given the full script. Many describe the feeling of observing the adults around them and thinking, why don't they see what's so obvious? Spiritually, the signs are even more pronounced. Many of the 144,000 have memories of early mystical experiences, moments of deep connection with something greater, significant visions or dreams, or encounters with angelic presences or guides. These experiences often occurred during times of intense family suffering, as if a window between dimensions opened when earthly reality became unbearable. The unexplainable experiences you've had since childhood weren't the result of an overactive imagination or coping mechanisms, as others may have suggested. They were glimpses of the greater reality you carry within, moments when the veil between your earthly awareness and your true spiritual nature temporarily dissolved. Recurring dreams are particularly meaningful for the chosen ones. Dreams of flying or floating point to a nature not confined by the physical. Dreams of teaching or healing large groups reflect aspects of your purpose. Dreams of catastrophes followed by renewal symbolize the planetary transformation you're part of. Dreams of meeting beings of light or visiting places that feel more familiar than your earthly home carry deep significance. Among the often misunderstood sensitivities are the ability to feel others' emotional states as if they were your own, the ability to instantly detect falsehood, even when disguised by smiles and sweet words, and a deep connection with nature, animals, or children, beings who haven't yet been fully conditioned to hide their true essence. The intuitive abilities that emerged in response to a toxic environment are not flaws. They are sophisticated adaptations. The hypervigilance you develop to navigate unpredictability is, in fact, an advanced form of perception. Your tendency to meticulously analyze behaviors and intentions is a tool for spiritual discernment. Your capacity to detect incongruence between words and energy is a form of energetic reading. Synchronicities and number patterns often appear in the lives of the chosen, especially during moments of decision or transition. Numbers like 1111, 333, 4444, or 727 tend to stand out during key moments. Coincidental encounters with people or information exactly when needed. These are not random accidents. They are signposts on your path, confirmations that unseen forces are guiding your journey. Perhaps the most revealing sign is a deep, persistent sense of purpose, even in your darkest moments. An unexplainable feeling that you are here to do something meaningful, even when all external evidence suggests otherwise. This is not mere optimism or fantasy. It is your soul's voice, reminding you of the mission you accepted before birth. If you recognize these signs in your own journey, it's essential to connect with other chosen ones. Subscribe to the channel right now and hit the notification bell. We are gathering the 144,000, and each awakened soul strengthens our collective mission. It's no coincidence you're hearing these words at this exact moment. As more chosen ones awaken to their true identity, the energetic network they naturally form grows stronger, creating a field of resonance that helps others awaken too. This is not merely an individual process, but a collective activation carefully orchestrated for this precise moment in human history. A time when the unique qualities of the 144,000 are more needed than ever before. The chosen ones weren't sent to Earth merely for their own spiritual growth, but to fulfill a crucial role in the planet's current transformation. This is not just another point in human history. It's a prophetic turning point, what many traditions describe as the end times, not in the sense of apocalyptic destruction, but the conclusion of one evolutionary cycle and the beginning of another. The strategic placement of the 144,000 in toxic families around the world was not random, it was meticulously planned. Like seeds of light planted where the darkness is densest, each chosen one was positioned in a specific energetic nexus, a point where ancestral patterns of trauma, separation, and fear were deeply rooted and in need of transmutation. This strategic placement created an invisible energetic network around the planet. Even before consciously awakening to their mission, the chosen were already acting as planetary acupuncturists, serving as energetic needles in precise points of the Earth's body to release collective blockages that were hindering the evolution of consciousness. It's crucial to understand how your experiences in toxic families prepared you specifically to heal collective patterns. What you faced on a micro level within your family mirrored distortions that exist on a macro level in human consciousness. Abuse of power, emotional manipulation, denial of truth, suppression of authenticity, fear of the unknown, and rejection of what is different. By learning to navigate, survive, and eventually transcend these patterns in your own family, you are developing exactly the tools needed to help humanity do the same on a global scale. Your personal life has been a training ground for your global mission. The specific ability to transmute darkness into light is the unique gift of the 144,000. Unlike souls who came to Earth to observe, teach, or simply experience, the chosen ones came with the alchemical ability to enter the deepest density and transform it into higher frequencies. Like a spiritual filter capable of processing heavy energies and transmuting them, you have learned not only to withstand toxicity, but to spiritually metabolize it. This current moment in human history has been prophesied by nearly every spiritual tradition. It's what the Mayans called the end of a great cycle, what Hindus describe as the transition between ages, what Christians know as the time of the apocalypse, literally meaning revelation, and what indigenous traditions call the Great Purifier. It is no accident that you are alive precisely now. The collective awakening of the 144,000 is now happening on a global scale, and it's accelerating. What once took decades, recognizing one's divine nature despite family conditioning, is now happening in years or even months for many chosen ones. This acceleration is no coincidence. It's a response to the urgency of the evolutionary moment humanity is facing. You may be wondering why, if this mission is so important, the path had to be so hard. The answer reveals the sophistication of the divine plan. Only those who have directly experienced the densest shadows can serve as authentic bridges for others still immersed in them. Your credibility as a guide comes precisely from the fact that you don't theorize about darkness. You have known it intimately and found your way back to the light. The coming years represent the moment you've prepared for across many lifetimes. The wounds you carry are not obstacles, they are your credentials. The sensitivities that once seemed to make life harder are your most precise tools. The patterns you were forced to understand within your family are the very ones you came to help transform in the collective consciousness. As more chosen ones awaken and recognize each other, the energetic network they create becomes exponentially more powerful, not as a force of domination, but as a field of resonance that enables others to awaken and helps transform entire planetary systems that no longer serve the evolution of consciousness. Every chosen one goes through distinct phases in their spiritual awakening journey. Understanding these stages offers not only comfort, but also a valuable map to navigate this transformative process. The initial phase is marked by deep confusion. In childhood and adolescence, you likely felt a disturbing disconnect between what you intuitively perceived and what you were told. This dissonance created a constant state of confusion, as if everyone else was following invisible rules that only you couldn't understand. This confusion wasn't due to a lack of perception, but rather your innate ability to see beyond appearances, a gift that was often punished instead of celebrated in your family environment. Inevitably, this confusion evolves into a phase of acute pain. As you grow older, you begin to realize it's not just about misunderstandings, but fundamentally toxic dynamics. This revelation brings deep existential pain, the realization that those who are supposed to protect and nurture you are, in fact, perpetuating harmful patterns. This pain often manifests as depression, anxiety, or identity crises. The third phase, acceptance, represents a crucial turning point. Instead of continuing to resist the reality of your family situation or trying to change others, you begin to accept the truth of your experience. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but a clear-eyed acknowledgement that frees up the energy previously spent on denial or struggle. It's the moment when you stop expecting your family to be different and begin to ask what higher purpose might be hidden within this experience. True awakening occurs when you begin to recognize larger patterns and connections between your personal journey and broader evolutionary processes. Insights arise spontaneously. Synchronicities increase dramatically. You start having meaningful encounters with people who share similar perceptions. This phase often includes a conscious reconnection with spiritual guides and your own higher wisdom. It feels as if a veil is being lifted, revealing a reality far more expansive than you ever imagined. Eventually, the phase of purpose emerges when you realize that your most painful experiences have perfectly prepared you for a specific mission. The same qualities that made it hard to adapt to a toxic family environment, sensitivity, intuition, a drive for authenticity, now reveal themselves as essential gifts for the spiritual work you came here to do. The dark night of the soul is a necessary initiation on this path. This period of apparent spiritual abandonment, when you feel disconnected from any sense of purpose or higher guidance, serves as a crucible to forge your deepest faith. It's the moment when you learn to find inner light, when no external light seems available, a crucial skill for your future mission. Overcoming family programming without falling into bitterness is a significant challenge. Many become trapped in cycles of resentment, defining themselves by their reaction against their family rather than by their greater purpose. The path of the chosen one requires emotional alchemy, transforming justified pain into enlightened compassion, understanding generational patterns without being imprisoned by them. Reconnecting with your true divine essence happens through specific practices that dissolve layers of conditioning, silent meditation that helps you hear your inner voice beyond family programming. Regular contact with nature that restores your natural frequency, creative expression that releases suppressed truths, and conscious communion with others on a similar journey. As you begin to step into your true identity, resistance inevitably arises, both internally and externally. Internally, old fears resurface. What if I'm wrong? What if it's just my imagination? Who am I to think I have a special purpose? Externally, those used to your old identity may react with discomfort or hostility to your transformation. These resistances are not true obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen your resolve and fine-tune your frequency. Every time you choose your truth in the face of doubt, every time you stay loyal to your vision despite opposition, you not only solidify your own awakening, you create a field of possibility for other chosen ones still in the process of recognizing themselves. The process of turning emotional wounds into tools for healing is the sacred alchemy that defines the chosen ones. This is not merely a poetic metaphor, but a literal ability to transmute dense energies into higher frequencies, a gift that was refined precisely through experiences in toxic families. Your specific emotional wounds are not obstacles to your mission, but the exact raw material needed to fulfill it. Notice the perfect pattern. Those who experience constant invalidation develop an extraordinary ability to validate others' reality. Those who suffered rejection often cultivate the gift of creating spaces of unconditional acceptance. Those who were silenced discover powerful voices to speak truths others are afraid to say. The toxic family pattern wasn't a mistake. It was a meticulously designed training ground. Every challenge you faced developed specific qualities essential for your healing mission. The need to discern truth amidst conflicting messages sharpened your intuition. Emotional isolation strengthened your internal connection with the divine. Surviving in an unpredictable environment honed your adaptability and resilience. This transmutation of negative energy into wisdom happens on levels far beyond the mind. When you consciously integrate a painful experience, you are not merely getting over it or accepting it. You are literally reorganizing those energetic patterns in your auric field, transforming blocks into channels through which higher frequencies can flow. The alchemical process of forgiveness represents the master key to unlocking your full power. This kind of forgiveness is not a superficial concession that downplays what happened. It's a deep process of understanding that frees you from the energetic chains that keep you tied to limiting patterns. Forgiving doesn't mean approving toxic behavior. It means recognizing that holding on to resentment only prolongs your suffering and limits your mission. There are practical techniques to transform your traumas into gifts. The inner child rescue practice allows you to consciously return to painful moments and give your inner child what they needed back then. The conscious rewriting technique helps you reimagine past experiences from an empowered perspective. The radical blessing practice transmutes resentment by intentionally sending light to those who hurt you. One of the most powerful forms of transmutation occurs when you recognize generational patterns in your family. Seeing how your parents were conditioned by their parents and they by theirs reveals the impersonal nature of these patterns. This understanding doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it puts it into context, allowing you to release the weight of a story that began long before you were born. The chosen often discover that their purpose is directly connected to their deepest wounds. Those who suffered physical abuse often develop gifts in physical healing. Those who experienced emotional manipulation often become masters of authentic communication. Those who were spiritually manipulated often find their mission in revealing genuine spirituality, free from dogma and control. When you begin using your experiences to help others on their awakening journey, a miracle unfolds. Your own wounds are completely transformed. Teaching is the deepest form of learning. Guiding others through what you've faced yourself solidifies your own healing. Sharing your light with those still in the dark doesn't just illuminate their path, it strengthens your own radiance. The deeper truth few understand is that the souls most capable of turning poison into medicine are the very ones who have been exposed to the most potent toxins. In a world flooded with dysfunctional patterns, those who have spiritually metabolized these energies carry precisely the medicine humanity needs most during this time of collective transformation. A collective awakening of unprecedented magnitude is quietly unfolding around the planet. The 144,000 chosen ones are gradually recognizing themselves and each other, forming a web of consciousness that transcends geographic, cultural, and religious boundaries. This is not a random process, but the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy. Foreseen by many traditions, the signs of this collective awakening are visible to those with eyes to see. People who've never met in person feel instant and deep connections when they cross paths. Conversations that seem like coincidences reveal stunning synchronicities along life paths. Similar dreams are being reported by individuals across different continents. The internet, with all its limitations, has become a divine instrument, allowing the chosen to find each other beyond physical barriers. You can recognize other members of the 144,000 through subtle signs. There's a certain quality in the eyes, a depth that reflects both ancient wisdom and transformed pain. An immediate resonance when sharing experiences that others wouldn't understand. A mutual ability to see beyond social masks and recognize the true essence. When chosen ones meet, they often feel physical sensations, goosebumps, warmth in the chest, or energetic expansion. Soul-level recognition of a reunion long destined. The transformative power that emerges when the chosen unite transcends the sum of its parts. When two or more connect consciously, they create a resonance field that exponentially amplifies their ability to transmute dense energies. This field acts as an interdimensional portal, allowing higher frequencies to flow into Earth's collective consciousness. This is why fear and control-based systems try so hard to keep people isolated. They instinctively sense the catalytic power of conscious union. Your sacred responsibility at this critical point in history doesn't necessarily mean becoming a public figure or a visible leader. Many of the 144,000 work in silence, transmuting energy simply through their presence. Others are called to share their wisdom through words, art, or direct healing. Some are placed in positions of influence within systems in need of inner transformation. Your specific role will naturally be revealed once you are fully aligned with your purpose. The world the chosen are co-creating is not some abstract utopia, but a tangible reality emerging as each one lives out their authentic frequency. It's a world where authenticity replaces performance, genuine connections replace superficial transactions, cooperation replaces domination, and shared abundance replaces artificial scarcity. This new earth doesn't require the destruction of the old, but its transformation through the infusion of higher consciousness. The time for hesitation has passed. Every chosen one who delays their full awakening leaves a void in the energetic field that only they can fill. Every time you dim your light to feel safe, you slow the manifestation of the divine plan. The moment you've been prepared for, through lifetimes and challenging experiences, is now, not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel completely ready, but right now. Now that you understand your true purpose, it's time to take your place as one of the 144,000 chosen. Comment the word awakened to affirm your commitment to this divine mission and to help other chosen ones find you. Share this video with Those you intuitively feel are also part of this sacred group. Remember, it's no accident you were born where you were, and it's no coincidence this message reached you today. The time for collective awakening is now.